here we are. The final tango, the ultimate waltz. It's game 3, do or die between these two teams, the PLDT Home Fiber Power Hitters and the Philippine Air Force Jet Spikers here in the Spikers Third 2019 Reinforced Conference. Games today, both game 3s, both do or dies in the semifinals of this tournament. Jud Sulit alongside Sheila Salaysay, bringing you the action from Paco Arena as always. And Sheila, for some reason, we expected this to be like this. 4 of the top teams of our tournament, of our conference, and it just needed an extra game to settle things.
That's correct. You know, it was an intense game for all the teams during game 2 as they were challenged in sustaining their momentum because each one is, you know, cannot give up their win, and then that's why no one wants to throw in the towel. That's why we're here. We're in the level playing field for today.
Absolutely. We cannot tell the story of Game 3 without going back to what happened in Games 1 and 2. And so let's take a look. First in Game 1, look at that, 5 sets. The fifth set came down 15-12, and it was Air Force, the lower seeded team, dictating the first game of this series. And then in the second match, look at what's going to be the score. It's also going to be a 5-setter, 15-13 in that 5th set, and PLDT just finding a way to force sudden death.
You know, the good thing about this game was you don't know who's going to win because everybody gives their best shot every time. But it all boils down to who's willing and who's pouring their hearts out more during that match.
Absolutely. And let's also take a look at who were the leaders for both teams in that game too. Of course, you know, PLDT had to play with their backs against the wall, and it was their big shots in Pablico, in De Guzman, so Magaysay. They all tried to come up huge. And, you know, that's the strength of both these teams. They have a lot of weapons, and we've seen all weapons initiated here in this series.
You know, that's correct. You see Pablico rising to the occasion. That's why he was called the King Falcon, reading the defense and then giving out attacks very well. On the other side, we saw Bagunas as well and Abilia giving their efforts, but of course, it's not enough for them to be able to grab match number 2 or game 2.
But as they say, you know, you throw away the stats, the numbers, the stories from game 1 and 2. What matters the most is game 3. Who will take the win here? Who will advance to the finals? We'll find out in just a bit.
Presenting our national officials for this match. Referee Mr. Rene Gaspilio. Let's now meet the starting 6 for the Philippine Air Force Go for Gold. Let's start off with jersey number 1, Brian Bagunas. At number 2, Francis Philip Saura. Number 8, Kim Malabunga. At number 10, Fauzi Ismail. Number 17, Airman 2nd Class Jesse Lopez. and number 18, Madslan Gampong. Starting libero is number 14, Sandy Montero. With head coach, Staff Sergeant Robin Berayo. Let's now meet the starting lineup for the PLDT Home Fiber Power Hitters. Let's start off with jersey number 6, Ronchet Lee Villegas. At number 7, JV Sumagaysay. Number 9, Paolo Pablico. At number 10, John Vic de Guzman. Number 11, Joshua Umandal. And number 15, Peter John Kell. Starting libero is number 13, Renz Melgar. With head coach, Oji Mamon. This is Game 3, a do-or-die match. Good luck to both teams.
Here we go. It's Game 3 between PLDT and Air Force. The starting lineup for Philippine Air Force, Ismael Gampong, Saura Malabunga Lopez, Montero, and of course, Brian Bagunas, who this team missed for a while. He is back here and is a large reason why they are one win away from the finals. On the other side, it's going to be Pablico de Guzman sa Magaysay, Kiel, Villegas, Umandal, and Melgar will be the starting libero for the PLDT Home Fiber Power Hitters. And we were talking just a while ago off the air. We were reminiscing back to last conference, last season, where it was these two teams, PLDT and Philippine Air Force, who met in the finals. And it was another series, although PLDT swept, Air Force swept PLDT in that series. Both games were still 5 sets. And you can just tell, Sheila, how evenly matched these two teams are.
Well, that's correct. Now, for this conference, Air Force has an addition, in the person of Brian Bagunas, which makes them more formidable compared to PLDT. A lot of people watching this game, game number 2, and they were like saying it's a match between the youngsters and the more experienced, and you can see how they sweat and how they play every point in game 2.
However, look at this. Bagunas in his first attempt was blocked there by Pablico. And those two guys, as you saw earlier in our graphic, they led their teams in game 2, but not to be denied was Gampong.
Yes, that's correct. In game number 2, Bagunas contributed 25 humongous points, and Abdilia a little bit out of the his system with 18 points at least, compared in game 1 where he delivered 24 points. And these two guys, the whole team relying on these two guys for their offense.
That was out for John Vic de Guzman, another guy who we're so used to seeing John Vic come up with huge games. But actually in PLDT's game 2 win, he only had 10 points. And that's far below what we expect from him. But he had a lot of help, Sheila, from his teammates, and that's why they were still able to get the win.
Game 2 for John Vic de Guzman is an improved performance for him, because during game 1, he was only able to contribute 8 points. And then he was on and off in game 1. But the good thing about that is, together with his teammates, you have Umandal, of course, and Kiel also pitched in some points on their offense and defense.
Now look at that off-speed hit. It was enough for Gampong. We saw a powerful attack from him. We saw some finesse on that one. He's showing everything here in the first set. And usually there's a team that kind of dictates the start of a match. But look how evenly matched and how competitive these teams are against each other. Even in the very early goings of this match, neither team giving way. Pablico trying to go down the line, but the double block worked to perfection.
That's correct. Gampong was just in the right position to defend that attack.
From the back row, the net defense of Philippine Air Force. Back-to-back big blocks.
It was Ismael Fauci at that time. Solo block at the net. No defense was absent in some parts for Air Force in game number 2. And that is one of their loopholes, which was capitalized by PLDT.
And now it's an ace. Earlier, I was saying that neither team was letting the other get advantage, but this is 3 points that Philippine Air Force has collected here. 3 straight, I mean. Saura putting the ball in play. Umandal getting creative, and you know, it had a little bit of luck, but they'll take the point.
That's correct. Now, lack of communication in that last sequence, as you saw that tip from Umandal.
You saw his hand. He cocked it back and made the triple block thing that he was coming in hard, and then changed it at the last second.
No, that is one good realization of these two teams, because both of them anticipating a lot of strong attacks, but that was a smart move on the side of PLDT.
When Chet Villegas, he spotted. It was actually a regalo, but you know, he didn't even have to hit it hard. He used his smarts instead of strength.
You know how well he can see the other side, and that is one skill really of a setter. You can see his peripheral vision and looking at the positions of the opponent, which was an advantage.
But this was a quick one. That time scored by Philippine Air Force.
This one another regalo.
Over-received by Publico. And an easy point collected by Philippine Air Force. It was a very quick start to this first set. Philippine Air Force gets us to the first technical timeout. They lead 8-5. Back to the action in the semifinals of the Spikers Turf 2019 Reinforced Conference. It's the rematch of the finals of last season. Gampong, he has done marvelous things on offense here. De Guzman, that's the second time, actually the third time, that he committed an attack error. One was blocked, but 2 times his attack sailed long.
That last setup to De Guzman was a bit low, and that's why it's a bit tough setup for him, hitting that long. Another regalo.
Oh, that's 2 times also that Paolo Publico over-received that first ball. And I expect to hear a lot about that first ball in this timeout called by Coach Oji Mamon.
Umatras ka na lang. Atras ka na lang, ikaw na umatake ng ng back row. Ha? Porsyento, hindi sinabi maganda receive, pero siyempre titiyan mo rin yung block mo. Dito si Jesse sa dulo. Kayang-kaya ni Zhao yun. Ha? Siguraduhin mo may sasama sa'yo, ha? Hindi tatatluhin mo yung dalawa ka. Guys, importante lang may pasa tayo. Huwag na lang yung
Okay, well, Coach Oji actually worried about other things. And I'm sure he knows already that that first ball or that reception is something that they have to solve, but he had other reminders.
That's correct. But in game 2, that has been his instruction. They are experiencing a couple of misreceptions in the first set, and until now he's been reiterating that, knowing, you know, you have to give one good pass.
And you see when they get that first ball up, and they're able to set up their plays, they get points because PLDT is actually a great offensive team.
That's correct. You know, that is also what happened on the side of Air Force during game 2. A number of issues when it comes to their defense happened, but that is a good down-the-line attack. No one there on the side of PLDT to dig that up. As we look at the replay, solo block was capitalized by the attacker.
Umandal once again, that one was sent back to him. Another block point for Philippine Air Force, well, if you have Kim Malabunga there in the front line, it's always an advantage for you as a defensive team.
You can see the triple block there. This has a better improve when it comes to their defense compared to game 2.
They go to Bagunas, but there's a violation.
Yeah,
Double touch on Lopez.
That's a lost opportunity when it comes to the offense of Air Force. But you know, they don't need to be complacent even though they are up here by 5, as a PLDT can consecutively, you know, give out points on their offense and defense as well.
Now it's Villegas who will be serving.
And I like how Philippine Air Force now having, you know, various or variety when it comes to their attack. It's not all the time power, but they are seeing, you know, that open space in the defense of PLDT.
Here's Villegas again. Initiating the Guzman in Jonvic. Looks like he slipped a little bit on the way up, and that's why he had to get creative. But Jonvic, he's 0 for 4 when it comes to attacks, and that's not a good sign for PLDT. At the end of the day, if he's not your best player, he's definitely one of the best of your go-to guys.
That's correct. You know, during game 2, Jonvic also started slow, and he started, you know, to give out firepower attacks on the 3rd set, 4th, and 5th, you know, when his team needed him the most. And knowing Jonvic, he's one of the really more persistent players for PLDT, but I love how Air Force is becoming more aggressive starting from the onset.
Look at this, you know, Philippine Air Force now up by 8 points. Malabunga, De Guzman gets that up. They go right back to him, but Jonvic, once more, 5th attack error. A lot of trouble coming from the two main men of PLDT, De Guzman and Pablico, and it's Philippine Air Force up 16-7.
Paliwanag ko, ang middle natin, kailangan may connection kayo sa center. Saan nang gagaling? Kailan yung establish yung connection na yun? Pag-service pa lang, bago magpasa. Kung ma-approach ka ng running, yung receive, dito. Paano ka makikita ng center? Paano ka magkukunin? Paano ka mag-uusay?
Semifinals action in the Spikers Third of 2019 Reinforced Conference. The first 2 games between PLDT and Air Force in this series were close ones. 5 sets in the first match. That 5th set went down 15-12 in favor of Air Force.
That's right.
Game 2, 5th set went down 15-13. But nothing going down right now for Jonvic De Guzman.
That is his 3rd in the front for Jonvic. And during the huddle, Coach Oji Mamon reiterated, you know, to have the connection between the attacker and the setter. And it happens, you know, during service time, you have to talk to your setter, but you need, of course, to wait for a good pass before you can set up the second ball.
What are you noticing, Sheila, on the side of PLDT? Is it a case of over-eagerness, or is there something different in the way you see them move?
Well, it's just about their defense first, and you know, they can, even though they can have their first ball or good passes, it's poor execution when it comes to the attacks, and they started to slow down and lost communication. That is why, you know, they are down here big points.
But you know, perhaps something that PLDT could consider a good sign is that Bagunas hasn't been initiated really. He missed that attack earlier. Here he is coming in strong. And forget about what I said. He got that point, and Brian Bagunas has officially arrived in Game 3.
Yes, you know, the 2 blockers on the side of PLDT, they jumped first before Bagunas was able to make contact with the ball.
Well, PLDT is in a deep hole right now here in the first set. But we know volleyball, it's played set by set, so that score will reset. After, you know, if Air Force, it looks like that's going to happen, that they'll get to 25 points earlier than PLDT here in the first set.
That's right.
But then it's important for the power hitters to be able to make those adjustments, especially on defense, because Bagunas is picking on them right now.
Net touch on the side of Air Force. And one good thing that is happening on this side for Air Force is that their defense has improved compared to Game 2, which we're not seeing as of the moment for PLDT.
Sumagaysay with a serve. The joust, it favors PLDT, and that will be the first point from PHIL.
Well, that is too low setup that time for Gampong. Slow and fast. And you can see Gampong is not one of the tallest attackers, so that will be really tough for him to hit.
And that's going to be an ace for Sumagaysay. So back-to-back points for PLDT home fiber. And at this point, Air Force 6 points away from taking the first set. You know, your PLDT, you still want to fight as hard as you can, but it's also so important to get to build momentum and be able to carry it into the second set. And look, they force Philippine Air Force to call a timeout as they come within 6.
Sinasabay namin sinasabay yung kwenta dito pa si Brian sa dulo. Iipit mo kasi, pinapasabay mo yung pitch, ibabato mo sa open. Resiba muna natin, yan na first ball. Tara.
Well, earlier it was PLDT having some difficulty on their first ball, but this time it's the Air Force, you know, having the same issue. And Coach Rovell also reminded them, you know, we need to have one good pass. That's it. Well, they still have Bagunas in front and Gampong, so that is a percentage attacker.
So they have to first solve the service of JV Sumagaysay because back-to-back aces were scored there. But you see, they got it and were able to set up once again.
And that is off the block. And another point will go to Air Force.
Bagunas will be replaced here. Mosquela checking in.
Mosquela is their serve specialist, and of course, Coach Rovell needs another good defender at the back.
However, the specialist commits an error. I know these guys are pros, but still, you know, it can be challenging to come off the bench and suddenly have to make an impact.
But you know, that feeling, when I was still playing, I was a freshman, that is my job. I was tasked to serve the ball if, you know, we're 1 or 2 points away.
A good save here for Philippine Air Force, but eventually, you know, they scrambled too much already and it was so difficult to put it up. You were saying, Sheila.
Yeah, but the server job normally is also a defender needed at the back, and that was the role that I used to play before. But in that last sequence, you can see how, you know, persistent these two teams are as John Vic de Guzman gives out another service error.
And John Vic usually, through errors and miscalculations, he remains patient, but he already let out a scream of frustration there. And he knows that this is not just any match, you know, they lose and that's going to be the conference for them.
That's right. Another quick setup that time for Peter Kiel, and he was able to deliver 10 points in Game 2 and also performed well at the defense.
Oh, Chris Silang is now the setter on the floor for PLDT. But before they get to set, it was a point scored by Philippine Air Force, courtesy of Fauzi Ismail.
Great angle there for Fauzi.
Gambong attacking de Guzman. Umandal. off. And, oh, there was a touch, and that's going to be a point for PLDT.
That is the first attack from Umandal. That wasn't blocked there by the defenders for Air Force.
And he defied a triple block. That one was a great block as well. So Magaysay getting the point for PLDT.
Slowly but surely is what is happening for PLDT here.
The quick, oh, there was a gap, and Malabunga spotted it. Umandal looks like he may have landed awkwardly on the foot of Malabunga, and Kim apologizing to Joshua Umandal. Umandal saying, it's okay, I'm gonna play through this.
That's right. Now, an excellent adjustment for Malabunga in that running attack, because it was already, the ball was already high. He was not in position, and aggressiveness for Bagunas. Good thing he was at the net.
Kept alive. PLDT with a big block. Once again, JV Sumagaysay. You know, he hasn't been an option attacking. But remember, he had a couple of aces.
Yes.
Now he has a couple of blocks. He's doing the dirty things for the power hitters.
And that is the good thing, because if your offense is not working, then you can cope, you can double your time or your effort in other departments. And that is what we are seeing from JV Sumagaysay. Service and defense, which is his forte.
Labrador and De Ocampo checking in for Philippine Air Force. They are at set point now here in the first set. Malabunga. Melgar puts it up. Silang goes to De Guzman, and they get the connection. It produces something good for PLDT.
And that is the strategy of what Coach Oji wants them to do. Combination play, as you can see. The blockers were deceived by that combination play, and that's already an advantage for PLDT.
Umandal. Now Lopez will go to Bagunas, and Brian Bagunas will put an end to the first set. But still, Sheila, I thought that was a great effort for PLDT to pick up their game late in the set, but there was just too much of Philippine Air Force at the start.
That's correct. They were racing against time. They started to double their effort already at the latter part of the set, which will be very difficult for them because, Air Force already had their momentum at the onset.
And that is why the Jet Spikers take the first set 25-20. More of the Spikers turf when we return.
Excited kami sa mga kalaban namin. Mas magiging maganda yung labanan ngayong season.
Tinignan namin kung anong kahinaan ng kalaban para doon namin sila maatake.
Sundalo kami, doon na nag-i-start yung samahan namin. Walang iwanan.
Hi, I'm Nino Jerus.
I'm Jeffrey Malabanan.
I'm Petros Paulo de Ocampo, inviting you to watch Spikers Turf on One Sports.
The defending champions, Philippine Air Force, taking that first set in this do-or-die Game 3 in the semifinals of the reinforced conference of Spikers Turf. Sheila, walk us through the numbers, please.
You can see there, when it comes to attacks, it was dominated by Air Force 13-8 blocks defense, 4 apiece, aces and errors as well. So you can see how close this match is. But looking at our guys on the floor right now, Abdilia is not playing for Air Force. On the side of PLDT, you don't see FIBR as well, right? So, this has become more exciting. It's one of the go-to guys of each teams. We're not seeing as of the moment.
And we also haven't seen Jeffrey Malabanay, take the court here. Here to start the second set. Soft touch there for Ismail. And 4 touches as his attack was not over. So PLDT gets the first point here in the second set. They actually closed that first set in a strong manner, gained some momentum, and that's what they hope to bring in here in the second. Ismail, that time, he goes down the line. It's in, point for Philippine Air Force.
That's correct, and Air Force still doing well, even if Abdilia is not right on the floor now because he is nursing an injury. His right knee is swollen as of the moment. For PLDT, FIBR just got from a gastric illness. But, they are at the sidelines just waiting for their time if needed.
And just to make a point how important that man, Ranran Abdilia, is to Philippine Air Force, for the longest stretch in the elimination round, he was the leading scorer of this entire tournament. And sure, because it would have been a load that he would have shared with Brian Bagunas if Bagunas was there the entire time. But Bagunas went for a stint in international volleyball. So Ranran Abdilia had to climb and be that main man. So a lot of the sets really came his way. But imagine how much Air Force is losing with him sidelined. But they have done enough to get that first set, and they're still fighting here in the second. However, it's PLDT who gets that point, courtesy of Pablico, wiping it off the block. Over received.
That's a good read for Lopez. Another one for Malabunga.
De Guzman once more, blocked there by Malabunga.
Again, aggressiveness and consistency we are seeing for Air Force this time. Gampong filling in for the shoes of Abdilia and performing excellently so far. Good. That's an excellent pancake for Umandal.
Bagunas comes in. And that's the kind of result you expect when it's Brian Bagunas getting a perfect set.
That is just the perfect time for them to be more aggressive, on the floor. Ismail having 6 attacks already.
He has done wonders for this squad. And that will be out as it hit the lights of our arena.
Is known as a King Falcon. Pablico giving off a strong cross-court attack.
And Paolo Pablico, he didn't feel much of his impact in that first set. It was actually very late in the first set that he got his first point. So it's going to be so important for Coach Oji Mamon in PLDT to get more from that man. He's going to be serving once again. Pablico. And that is overreaching.
Oh, that's a lucky break there for Air Force.
Yao Mandal committing that mistake.
Well, he already knew what will happen as that's a regalo, just, too aggressive there.
But Malabunga just not getting that ball over. Usually, when it hits the net on the serve, it helps the server, but not that time.
Maybe later.
They go back to Bagunas on the combination play. Soft touch, and PLDT got to that ball. Umandal has been providing for the power hitters.
Well, that is, taking advantage of Lopez at that time. Opting to hit that down the line. You can see, and the blockers as well are delayed to defend that net.
Bagunas was blocked. Ball kept alive. Bagunas will try again. Great save there for Publico. Umandal off the touch. And now PLDT home fiber stepping on the gas pedal here in set 2. They reach 8 points first. Compared to the 5 of Philippine Air Force, we have our first technical timeout.
Pull-away, ah.
Wala magta-touch net, ha?
Yung ano natin, yung nasa gitna natin, ikaw, pilitin mo mag-split left and right. Ha? Kaya ka namin pinapa-atras sa may guhit na. Mas may oras ka nun. Kasi nasa loob ka na mas mabilis yung ball parating sa'yo. Kasi harap, JB. Pakita ka lagi sa kanya.
Pasit lang, guys.
Back to the action. You see Ranran Abilia. He's still warming that left leg up. So, in case Philippine Air Force needs him, there is some sign that he might be deployed here by Coach Rovil Verayo. But so far, it's Bagunas. That one was the ruling. Both line judges were hesitant with their calls. And that's why the first referee summons both of them.
A number of crucial instances also happened in game 2.
They rule it out. And I saw Brian Bagunas. I was able to read his lip. And he was telling Coach Rovil, alam ko ako pumalo eh. But I actually thought from the angle we have, I thought it was out.
No, that time he made sure that is in, targeting John Vic at the back there. If you are as tall as Bagunas and if you see him leap, then you can see it's like an overview, a top view of what the other court looks like.
Oh, look at that set. However, Bagunas. And the stare down plus the scream.
He didn't like that call earlier.
And he's fired up. Look at this once again. Great back set. But the defense was even better. Single block covering the Guzman. And so Magaysay tried to send it to the back, but it was too wide.
Well, that is a good technical timeout. And after that, resulting to back-to-back points here for Air Force.
Lopez will be serving now. Silang goes to Umandal. Soft touch. No one there to cover that spot. It was deflected by the blockers, particularly Saura. But no one was there to cover the floor.
Well, it's all about communication. That's between Montero, the libero, and Bagunas as well, who's going to cover that wing. And Bagunas again from the opposite side this time.
Uh-oh. Brian Bagunas coming to life now. He was quite silent back in the first set, but look at him come to life. 3 times already he has attacked, and there was nothing that PLDT could do to stop that man.
Over reception, Montero was there. Another good one. And that was a good dig by Galang.
It's put up. Oh, good block by Umandal. What a play from Joshua Umandal.
The attitude of these guys from both of our teams and how they are performing right now for game 3. It has been so excellent that no one really wants to give in.
It looked like a lost cause for PLDT, but just the effort was there. Here's a free ball for them. They go for the quick And that's not over. That's going to be 4 touches.
Violation called against PLDT. And this 2 teams, you know, laser sharp focus for game 3.
Francis Sauro, also a player who wasn't there for the entire elimination round for Air Force. Now out to help his team.
And what I'm seeing right now for Air Force is everybody really contributes. You know, it's time for them to step up. And since Abdilla is not on the floor now, and that hit Saura on his shoulder.
And they keep the ball alive. Pablico, soft touch. Double touch there for Ismail. He's contesting that call. So is Coach Rovil.
Well, you can see he was in the position. The ball did not spin after he set that up. But it was, I thought that was a good one. That's a lost opportunity for Air Force, though.
And we know how important every single point is in this match. And, you know, the attitude of Philippine Air Force every time they feel like there's a bad call, what they do is they just keep their focus. And then they score the next point.
Well, that's the only thing that you can do at least, right? Because you cannot change the last call of the referee. And for some teams, that is a trigger for them to do better, to perform. That is what we're seeing right now. And that started, Baguna started that one.
Gampong with that ace. Silang goes to Pablico. Again on that off speed.
Good save there by Lopez.
They go to De Guzman, and John Vic takes care of business.
Well, Ismail jumped too early for that quick attack, and Malagunga was left alone. De Guzman just wiping that off.
You see the power. John Vic. 4 attacks and 1 block for De Guzman. Lopez going to Ismail. Pancake
That's a
works.
great read there.
Ismail once again. De Guzman will not be able to handle it.
Well, you can see how Ismail twisted his shoulder. He was on air, but Coach Rovil was contesting that early pancake.
Yeah, he felt that it was already on the floor. And he has been very frustrated with some of the calls here. Pablico off the block.
Montero was not in position for that attack. Just letting that ball fly.
This is just so entertaining, Sheila, this game. It's incredible. We're only in the second set.
Totally
Bagunas
agree.
using the triple block to get the point.
No, if Bagunas is in front, that is, again, an easy play for Air Force as Jesse Lopez continues to go to Bagunas every time.
And Lopez is really making the right plays here. Whether it's going to Ismail, to Bagunas like this one. And Bagunas down the line, Pablico was not ready.
You can see how frustrated Coach Rovil is because another, bad call was seen because Villegas, he thought that Villegas had a double contact in that last setup.
Well, 16-14 in favor of Air Force as we reach the second technical timeout of set 2. Philippine Air Force taking command here in our second set. 16-14 is our score. 2-point lead for the Jet Spikers. Look at what Malabunga has been able to do for his team. 6 points now. And importantly, more importantly, those 2 blocks. You know, he is their main man when it comes to net defense. But he was not there as he was stuck in the back row, and that's why that attack from Umandal was able to find its mark.
Umandal a bit silent, you know, during the first set, but he's doing just enough, you know, for PLDT.
Bagunas, there was just too much power in it. How do you solve that?
You know, it's a tough time for the defenders of PLDT because Bagunas, you know, can easily make decisions even when he's on air. Use the blocker's hands, you know, hit the ball faster for the defenders not to touch that one. And that's always been, you know, what is happening. But Sumagaysay this time, smart move using Bagunas to get that point.
He actually kind of deceived Bagunas. Bagunas was blocked, but it's still alive. Gampong sends it over. Sila, the combination for De Guzman. Good dig there for Lopez. Good dig as well for De Guzman. And it's going to be a chance ball for Air Force. Lopez combination for Bagunas.
No, that's very rare, Bagunas hitting from a combination play. And most of the time, when Jesse Lopez creates that kind of setup, it's always successful.
And because by himself, Bagunas is already a walking point.
Right.
And then you add that combination. It's Ismail. Loving that action. He got the single block on the Mandal. And now Air Force taking a 3-point lead. One more look at that. Fauzi Ismail.
No look block.
And look at him.
His shoulder right after.
The shrug.
Pagka nag-mispulan, John Vic, kung aatakihin mo talaga yun, dito ang labas mo. Doon ka lumabas ng post, yung over mo na. Okay. Di ba Prandro ka? Tumulong ka sa first ball, lalo na yung over na lang.
Okay. Sige.
Kumuha ka muna ng first ball, tsaka ka, para maganda yung flow, disconnected ka eh.
Sige. Hey, PLDT!
Coach Ojimamon singling out John Vic De Guzman in that huddle. And the reason why, I kind of understand, you know, he really needs John Vic to be part of this big PLDT picture if they want to make it to the finals.
You know, he has been emphasizing, Coach Oji, you know, earlier, you know, he has been using the word connect. When it comes to defense and offense as well for John Vic, it's been, you know, we haven't seen him really consecutively getting those points.
You know, once again, other guys stepping up like JV Sumagaysay, Joshua Mandal also in the mix. But at the end of the day, De Guzman will give you that chance to take that big win. Lopez. Oh, and it seemed like PLDT just froze.
You know, again, that PLDT always anticipating that Air Force will give off strong attacks. But, you know, the middle hitters of Air Force, you have Malabunga and Saura. Most of the time, those power tips work well. But not that service error.
Yep. And a free point for PLDT. They still are very much in this second set. But they need to be efficient. And Malabunga says, what efficiency are you talking about? Watch me score this. So much like the first set, into the 20s as PLDT was not able to stop Malabunga there. As Air Force gets to their 20s in terms of points, Coach Roville deploys the Ocampo as well as Labrador.
That's a delayed reaction already. Seeing that back set is already overset, but still Fauzi did not attempt or was not aware of that ball.
Now Alfafara has checked in. Our first look at Mark Alfafara. And like you said earlier, Sheila, not feeling 100%, but you throw that away when it's do or die.
Well, this is the time where PLDT needs him the most. Missed already in game 1 and game 2.
Malabunga, ball kept up.
The defense of Air Force disorganized in that last sequence.
Alfafara.
No calls.
They go now to Publico. Ball still alive. Excellent rally here. But that was not over for Fauzi Ismail. And PLDT breathing some life here.
Well, that's a long rally with what we've witnessed earlier. No, Fauzi just made the poor decision, twisting his hand. Last second, he saw the blocker's hand, so he was just avoiding those defenders.
Chet Villegas serving. Could be an important one for PLDT. And he gets the ace.
You're just on cue.
He ties this second set up at 21. And Coach Rovil asking for some time. Call it luck, call it skill, call it a point for PLDT.
Si Brian, kahit si gitna mo. Go, 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 go!
All tied up at 21 here in the second set. Air Force got that first set. PLDT trying to fight with everything they've got, because if not, then this will be their last game of the reinforced conference. At least, last game with championship hopes. Bagunas, not over. And PLDT takes the lead. Wow, what a turn of events. It seemed like Air Force was ready to take command and take the second set as well, but Bagunas just coming up short on that attack.
One of the things that affected Air Force is the unfavorable calls. And crucial part of the set, you get those calls, you get a loss somehow, losing your focus.
Well, here they are again, Ismail.
Net touch, that time is called against PLDT.
So great attack there for Philippine Air Force. Once again, we're tied, 22 all. Look at this, Ismail. And you see there, Kill committing that net touch. Villegas combination. Alfafara!
That's a great combination play. Napakagat si Malabunga nung quicker, and that's a good opportunity for Alfafara hitting that cross court. Lopez was left alone there. Bagunas.
How about that reaction?
Montero was just surprised.
Publico with the serve. Lopez going to Bagunas. Off the block. It's out. We're tied again at 23. And the taunts are out. The stare downs, the screams, everything in the mix here in game 3.
And this is all or nothing for these two teams.
Out. And Philippine Air Force once again at set point. Coach Oji Maman calls a timeout.
Yeah, isang paso lang, dahan-dahan lang kuya.
Yung block nyo mataas pa rin masyado, nakakapanan. Overreach. Kasi hawakan nyo na yung bola sa kabila. Ha? Huwag tayo yung hula lang. Ngayon yung depensa naman natin, gilid na kayo. Yung isa yung nasa ibabaw ang bata. Tatlo attacker natin, kailangan lang natin may pasa. Huwag kayong magduda sa sarili nyo. Hindi naman pang-ace yung serve nila eh.
Cover!
Well, Coach Ojimamon understanding that this is still a winnable set for them. It was just a couple of miscues. Well, that's one thing he wanted to correct, the blockings.
Again, blockings and defense, and I like what he said. They have 3 attackers in front. You know, they should be able to capitalize that.
Kel had to invent something there. Bagunas. Good coverage for PLDT. Umandal. It's still up in the air. Lopez. Back to Brian Bagunas. Good net defense for PLDT. Back to Bagunas again. And he splits the defense.
Where does Bagunas get that strength? You can see 3 consecutive attacks. How can he do that?
And Brian Bagunas refuses to be sent back. Got blocked a couple of times, but that ball finding its way back to him and eventually getting that 25th point for Philippine Air Force here in the second set. They are up 2-0. Will they be able to get that third set, or will PLDT be able to extend this? We'll find out in just a bit.
Aalaw ni God na makabalik ulit sa championship at makuha yung championship, di mas maigi para sa team namin.
So, syempre, masakit yung pagkatalo namin last season. And siguro yun yung pinaka magiging motivation namin dahil talagang gustong-gusto rin namin mag-champion. And pinaka-importante doon is yung team kung paano maglalaro inside. If you want speed, power, and athleticism, catch Spiker's Turf on One Sports.
PLDT home fiber in a deep hole as they lost that first set, and then they were in a good position in the second set, but also coming up short. What a comeback for Air Force.
You know, you can see here the seesaw performance of these 2 teams. Number 16 to 13 attacks, 3 blocks to 2, 1 aces apiece, 7 errors to 5. But Air Force managed, you know, to be able to grab that set, and that it was led by Brian Bagunas. You can see, you know, he's giving everything for this game 3, especially when it comes to offense.
And we're reminding you that this is the semifinals between the second and the third seed teams. And it was actually PLDT who was the second seed at the end of our eliminations. So this would actually be an upset. And Wandal's attack.
And another call against the Air Force. The ball was hit straight towards Coach Rovell, already at the sidelines. But our linesman said there was a touch. But it was overruled, and that point was awarded to Air Force.
So 1-0 here in third set, Philippine Air Force. What's the one thing that PLDT has to solve at this point, Sheila?
Well, again, it has been their issue when it comes to defense. And it has been inconsistent, and that was Coach Oji keeps on reminding them on how to make adjustments in that department. With first ball.
Here's Umandal.
Finally, Umandal avoiding the blocker's hands that time.
And that is going to be a very, very important point, you know, for PLDT to get going here in the third set. No de Guzman for them to start the third set. It's Alpha Para right there for them. Look at the power there from Gampong, but great big from Melgar. He's there once again. Silang will set up Alpha Para, goes in for the pipe, and the point scored by Mark Alpha Para.
You can see the effort there when it comes to defense, that time for Air Force and PLDT. And Alpha Para is needed at this time as Air Force is leading by 2 sets.
Lopez going to Saura. Nothing there. Gampong miscalculates that. He kind of hesitated mid-air, and that's why eventually he was called for lifting.
No, he already knows that the attack that the defenders of PLDT will be able to guard that ball against him. You know, that's a late second decision for Gampong, but this one is recovered by Lopez. That's a great save there by Umandal.
But yeah, the effort was there for Joshua Umandal. However, you know, it was just too tough for him. He was out of the play already, and PLDT at that point was one man too short. And eventually Air Force getting the point. So Magaysay trying to save that. Melgar will go to Umandal, and that will be a violation for Philippine Air Force. And Jesse Lopez trying to wake Gampong up. He was disappointed at his teammate for that error because they actually got to that ball. And it wasn't that threatening of an attack for Umandal.
That's just too aggressive at the net there.
That one is out.
But that's another check ball called that time against Richard Solis.
Umandal is targeted by the serve. Silang will go to Alpha Para. Mark Alpha Para, he's really playing with a lot of fire right now. And you know what? Usually, Alpha Para is someone who's silent, but he's battling through an illness, through being under the weather, hoping to help his team. And he deserves to get to scream as much as he wants.
Yes. You know, I can see how he wanted to play since a game 2.
Good net coverage for Kiel. Another one there.
Everyone on the floor for PLDT scrambling, but a free ball is given to Air Force.
Combination. And Bagunas.
That is out, supposedly, you can see, because Joshua Umandal is already, you know, at the latter or end line already of their court. But Bagunas targeting Umandal. That's not, being at the wrong position, the wrong time.
Oh, it was saved by Lopez. And Philippine Air Force converts it.
You can see there the reflexes of these guys You know, everybody doing their job.
Lopez made that possible. Look at this. O Montero, rather, on that dig.
And Lopez, taking advantage of the ball that bounced from the net. But this time, PHIL redeeming themselves from that quick attack.
Actually, a couple of plays earlier, you have to give a lot of credit to Peter PHIL because he was hustling all over the court, just making sure that that ball is still alive for PLDT. Unfortunately, eventually, Air Force got that point. But like you said, PHIL redeeming them.
Good dig that time from Melgar. No touch, but no call was called against PLDT. Free ball.
Can they capitalize, though? They need this. And Alfafara, that's just far out.
At times when you are very eager to get a point, you are, you have that, decision, and you are very willing to hit that ball. It was just, mishitting at the same time. Too much power in that attack from Alfafara.
And I can just assume that it's also a product of PLDT understanding that if they don't make things happen here in the third set, then that might be it for their championship hopes. But Philippine Air Force still taking control. We reached the first technical timeout in set 3. Air Force up 8-6. Lots of volleyball action enjoyed here, of course. Lots of fellow players, supporters, everyone. A good mix of the crowd because we're already in the semifinals of the Spikers Turf 2019 Reinforced Conference. And it's not just the semifinals, it's already game 3, do or die for both series. Alfafara once more. I've never seen him more energized than this.
His behavior after that attack, you can see from this one, he really made sure to get that angle and then giving that, showing off that behavior. It's two. One is a confidence booster, another is intimidation against your opponent.
Yeah, every advantage that you can get when it's game 3, when everything is on the line, you're just supposed to get anything. But Sol is running out of space there, running into our A boards, and that's why he wasn't able to get that ball up. Air Force with a 2-point lead. Jot Sulit and Sheila Salaysay on deck to serve you here in the semifinals of the Spikers Turf. Over received. But it turns out to be a blessing in disguise, Umandal. Can it be a regalo from the same side?
Yes.
Because that's what it was for Umandal.
But Lopez was, did not see that, already expecting. But Umandal was aware, how he will end that sequence.
However, over receiving that one.
You can see how sure Brian Bagunas in that last attack, and he didn't even have a blocker in front of him, but our linesman called that outside.
Well, Brian eventually did not contest it anyway. And a block for Umandal. That guy has really stepped up.
Well,
for
also,
PLDT.
yes, he did as well. In game 1, he was the sole double-digit contributor for PLDT, and Pablico de Guzman Solis Sumagaysay only delivered single points.
Well, when the opponent has marked your best players, the guys you expect to come up with big performances. It's really up to the second in command. You know, I mean, Umandal, we know he's very capable of performances like this, but usually it's the Guzman, Pabliko taking the spotlight. However, that time, Umandal gets sent back.
You know, that's an easy read for the blockers of Air Force, and though they are already in the position and they're prepared to defend that net, Umandal didn't have a choice. He was opting to hit that down the line.
But a service error committed by Jesse Lopez. And that evens up the count once again, 11 apiece. Silang puts the ball in play. Combination.
And the ball is still saved there by PLDT.
Great hustle from Alpha Para. Bagunas uses that block. You know, even if all 6 guys of PLDT were there for that block,
Right.
it might have been tough.
Well, Umandal was also in the position, you know, reading that well, but the attack was just too strong.
It's the elevation of Bagunas that allows him to attack balls so strongly. But speaking of elevation, not enough there on that serve. He commits an error.
No, ang baba nung hagis niya. So definitely that contact to the ball, yung shoulder and yung kamay niya bababa na rin. And that's back-to-back service errors for Air Force.
And when you throw that ball with not enough height, it's just either gonna be long or short.
Gampong taking that second ball into his hands and attacking that. Good decision.
And great presence of mind. You know, everything was developing so quickly, but he was aware, and that's why he was able to translate it into a point.
And still, you know, he has been delivering for Air Force, filling in the shoes for Ranran Abdilia.
If you're just joining us, Abdilia is not, well, has not seen action due to a right leg injury.
This time, Alpha Fara just giving off a tip. And that one forces Air Force to commit an error touching the net.
You know, Alpha Fara, he did not play the entire first set, but he has already provided 4 attacks for PLDT. Lopez will go to Gampong. The antenna is hit. In fact, it flies away. It gets broken.
Well, it was divided into 2. That's how strong Gampong's attack is. And we'll have a...
We'll need to replace that. See, that antenna is not supposed to be detachable. But then, with how strong that attack from Gampong was, it broke. And that will have to be replaced. We'll be back with more of Spiker's Turf. Now that was what happened earlier that caused some sort of delay inside the Paco Arena here in the semifinals of the Spikers Turf between Philippine Air Force and PLDT. Sheila has been playing and covering volleyball pretty much all her life, and it's the first time you say that you ever witnessed something like that.
Yeah. Well, I've seen, broken fingers, but the antenna, seeing how strong, well, that is just, the proof that that kind of attack is that very powerful. It can break the antenna.
And, well, our players, this is now the challenge for the players. Of course, you lose the sweat, and that's always a challenge. That's why they try to keep as active as they could be during that break. But it was a good maybe 10-15 minutes because obviously the antenna had to be put back together. But obviously as well, you lose that rhythm. And I'm just thinking, Sheila, maybe it hurts PLDT a little bit more because they had taken the lead already. They're up right now, 14-13. They battled back from being down by a couple of points. It was never a big lead for Air Force, but momentum was on the side of PLDT.
No, I totally agree. But, it's still, it's the Air Force also took their time off, That's why they continuously do the warm-up. And you can see them moving every now and then. But again, we don't know how they will return or snap back after that long rest.
And now our officials, our second referee, just making sure that the players on the floor as well as their positions are maintained because obviously it was quite a long break. So some people may have forgotten where they used to be before we had to fix the antenna. Nonetheless, as we mentioned, there it is on your screens, 14-13 in favor of PLDT home fiber, but the set count is Philippine Air Force 2, PLDT none. One more set win, and Air Force will be heading to the finals. Jut Sulit and Sheila Salaysay bringing the action. JV Sumagaysay will be serving. Action resumes inside the Paco Arena. Lopez. Good dig there for Silang. Combination.
It's a good read by Alfafara. And a great block by Malabunga.
Alfafara sends it to the middle.
A number of off-speed attacks and drop ball misreceived.
And that is converted by Air Force.
No, Malabunga wanted to end that rally already, giving up a harder attack.
And Philippine Air Force has been spectacular in this match, considering we haven't even seen Ranran Abilia, the leading scorer and the leading server, the best server so far in this tournament.
No, great effort there by Bagunas and Montero, the libero. And that was responded well at that time by Gampong by getting that point.
But Gampong has come up with back-to-back points already for his team. Kiel mistimed that. But a net touch.
Well, all the while we thought that's already, a point awarded to Air Force. But unforced errors, committed there. That was an easy point already for PLDT.
It was a bailout. It was supposed to be an error for them already. But they collect the point. But they give a point in return. This brings us to our second technical timeout of set 3. Lots to talk about on the side of PLDT home fiber. They will need to get this set if they want to stay alive in this conference.
Dalawa lang attacker mo. Kailangan magpakita ka, hindi pwede yung running ka kakaat. Ikaw ba manggagaling sa 4? Sino magsuserve sa kanila? Bats lang, gampong na.
Kakaserve ka ni Madrid kasi sila kasi. Si Kim na.
Si ano na.
Ilaban nyo na yan.
Si Ismail na. Hindi naman nila ano ha.
Stuy, tara.
Nagsushort. Bang lang
Now Coach Oji Mamon a bit more specific with his instructions, and he might have to be at this point because PLDT has their backs against the wall right now. The odds are not in their favor, and they have to come up with big plays.
But that's a good block there by Galang.
But you know what? Blocks don't matter when your name is Brian Bagunas.
You can see there Malabunga and Galang, you know, giving smiles, or rather Silang giving smiles to each other.
A nice deception there with Malabunga, making PLDT think it was going for the quick. Here's PLDT, Solis, sent back. Silang goes to Alfafara. Malabunga was there.
Malabunga, you know, showing what he can do, especially at this department.
And Philippine Air Force putting more pressure on PLDT. Kim Malabunga, great as always at the net, getting that block point.
Dito na tayo. Dito na? Oh. Ganito lang. Yung sa pasa lang, boy. Eh, hindi pupunta doon. Lagi nandito lang sa zone 2. Sa zone 4 yung pasa mo eh. Spacing natin eh. Ano na yan? Wala na to. X na yan. Ikaw na lang ang papalo.
Mark Alfafara. He will need a lot of help here, and that's why John Vic de Guzman is redeployed in this match. The challenge will definitely be up on this man, you know.
Now after the technical timeout, Air Force got 2 points and none for PLDT.
And John Vic smartly using the blockers there, wiping it off of them to get the point.
Now that is the adjustment that Coach Oji Mamon wants to see as well, because John Vic has 2 blockers already in front of him.
Alfafara will be serving.
Good reception for Bagunas.
Defense is ready, but he tries again. And this time, it is out off the block.
You know, that's an excellent adjustment for Bagunas, because Brian Bagunas, he doesn't want that low and fast setups. Especially, the blockers are already prepared, you know, to defend that net. But he was still able to penetrate and get that attack.
Oh, Bagunas is such a high percentage attacker. PHIL, that was a good play. A quick one resulting to a point for PLDT.
That's an immediate response from that point, and another easy substitution here for Coach Roville.
Lopez going once again to Bagunas. And PHIL unable to handle it. Philippine Air Force 5 points away from returning to the finals. They are the defending champions.
Jesse Lopez on the serve.
Villegas going to Umandal.
That was saved there by Gampong.
And Bagunas once again.
But Umandal and Belgar, who cannot do something about that attack.
Bagunas has been unstoppable, especially here in the third set. He has 21 attacks.
Diyan dumaan dito. Tumabi ako ng kaya nga, yung sinasabi ko eh. Sige, go. Kaya pa rin natin yung 4 na. Please, kapitan natin. Jaw, asa ka nun? Nakaulis mo ba sa public? Go. Please, kapitan natin. Kaya pa. Malay pa yun yung 6 na habol na. Kailangan dikit.
It's gut check time for PLDT. Down by 4. Their opponents, Air Force, also 4 points away from marching back to the finals. Lopez at the service line. Combination de Guzman getting a much-needed point. But they need to come up with more. And quick substitutions now for Coach Oji Mamon. Bagunas was targeted on the serve. And even if it's not Bagunas, even if it's Gampong, that cross court has been open for Philippine Air Force. Bagunas was targeting that earlier. Even with a different attacker, it's still that spot.
But it's almost as there are no blockers for PLDT, and you can see Coach Oji already, you know, giving out instructions again on how to make adjustments when it comes to their floor defense.
And yet another point for Philippine Air Force.
No coverage at that time for PLDT. Coach Roville, no contesting that last sequence. Well, he was telling the official that ball, you know, Melgar was not able to get to that ball. But still, the point is awarded to them.
Silang goes to Umandal. Good attack down the line. But now, like you said earlier, Sheila, it's going to be so important for PLDT to come up with stops on the defensive end.
PLDT already has Alfafara and Sumagaysay in front.
That should be a solid, you know, combination when it comes to net defense, but they have to be effective.
Too strong, yes.
An attack error.
Right, for Fauzi. But this time, the rotation that Air Force has, you know, Jesse Lopez needs to be more creative to get to the blockers, to deceive the blockers. And that time, no, good decision for Saura, no, to give that ball to Saura, because he has been doing a lot in the offense department, and the blockers, you know, are looking at Fauzi and Gampong.
And it's match point for Philippine Air Force. For a stint in the finals, not yet. They commit an error.
Another service error at the crucial part of the set for Saura.
But literally, no margin of error for PLDT. An error for them will mean that it will be game over. And what's worse is conference over if they do commit an error.
Magandang pasa, play Jesse. Harap. Ay, last tayo. This one. Sasabay sila sa tres tayo. Dito receive ba? Maganda receive lang ko. Pag binigyan niya ng tres, pwede mo manalo. Okay ko sa kabala. Maganda receive lang ko.
Back to the action here. 3 points separating these two teams, but only 1 point separating Air Force from making it to the finals.
Over reception for Air Force.
Alfafara. Good dig there for Montero. He will try again. Alfafara. Great floor coverage for Air Force. A block there for kill. Free ball for PLDT. Solis will collect the point.
You know, in that last sequence, you don't feel the killer instinct on the side of Air Force. You know, they have to realize they only need 1 more point. They don't want to give that momentum back on the side of PLDT.
And PLDT staying alive. 24-22. And Solis will not be able to get that in. And Philippine Air Force has earned their ticket back to the finals of the Spikers turf. After 2 very close matches in games 1 and 2, those 2 games needed 5 sets. Here in game 3, Philippine Air Force taking care of business quickly, ending it in straight sets.
No, that's correct. Well, at the onset, Air Force already displayed more aggressiveness, started, you know, really better than what they did in game 2.
And it will be Philippine Air Force now waiting in the finals We'll wrap things up here inside the Paco Arena when we return. The first ticket in the finals of the Spikers Turf 2019 Reinforced Conference taken by Philippine Air Force as they defeat PLDT in straight sets. Our player of the game, Brian Bagunas, 22 attacks and 1 block. Brian, dikit na dikit yung games 1 and 2. Hard-earned talaga. Pero hindi nyo na pinahaba tong game 3. Anong nagbago? Anong mga adjustments ginawa nyo?
Yun po, talagang unang-una talagang nag-sacrifice po kami. Talagang kahit ang layo ng Enyo, pumunta pa talaga kami sa Villamor Air Base kahit sobrang aga para lang makipag-ensayo. And siyempre, pinractice namin service and receive namin. So yun, naging effective naman. Kaya siguro naging ganun yung laro.
Brian, may mga time during the eliminations na nawala ka dito sa Air Force. At nag-iba talaga yung team nung bumalik ka. Added firepower. Now that you're entering the finals, posibleng makarap either Signal or Santa Elena. Parehong matindi. How do you like your chances ng koponan nyo na mag-champion?
Siguro, pag na-stable lang namin service and receive namin, siguro talagang kaya namin makuha yung championship. Kasi doon talaga nagsisimula yung tempo ng laro namin eh. Once na makuha talaga namin yun, gaganda yung execution ng buong laro namin. Yan po.
Maray, I'm sure kakailanganin niyo yung suporta pagdating ng championship. Batiin mo na, tsaka invite mo lahat na sumusuporta sa inyo.
Ini-invite ko po pala manood lahat ng fans ng Philippine Men's Volleyball dito sa Paco Arena. And sa family ko na always na sumusuport and sa inyo community and sa girlfriend ko. Yan. Ingat.
Congratulations and thank you, Brian. Let's take a look at the highlights from this match, taken, of course, by Philippine Air Force.
Excellent performance, led by that man, Brian Bagunas. And congratulations to Air Force for capping this Game 3 in straight sets. Give and take start for both teams at the first set. Problems in first ball defense started to pile up, which was maximized by Air Force. And Bagunas as well. You can see the numbers, 13 attacks to 8 only. So that department was well taken care of by Air Force. On the second set as well, PLDT, though, they were getting their rhythm, at the start, and were able to sustain there. However, Air Force managed, to get back up, and of course, but still there were, calls unfavorable of them, but they stayed in focus and was able to get the second set.
Come the third set, it really felt like the first part of it was back and forth again for these two teams, but after the first technical timeout, PLDT was already gaining some momentum, but we had an unfortunate stoppage when the antenna on the net broke.
Right.
And it kind of killed that momentum for PLDT. When we returned to action, Brian Bagunas took over. and the rest was history.
Well, although Mark Alfafara already made his presence felt, but was insufficient, for them to, even snatch a set for Game 3. And of course, in expense of, Ranan Abdila not playing for today, but Brian Bagunas went overboard. And we just have to commend both teams. They were determined. They gave their best shots. And of course, even in Game 3, we didn't see that, and either of them wants to give in.
Absolutely. Well, now this is our playoff bracket. Philippine Air Force waiting for either Signal HD or Santa Elena. And that will be our next match to determine who will be challenging Air Force. Of course, Air Force back-to-back defending champions. So it will be up to Signal HD or Santa Elena to see and to give Air Force a good match. That is the match coming up next. But that does it for Michela Salaysay and myself, for everyone here behind this coverage of the Spikers turf. My name is Jud Sulit. Thank you so much for watching, and do stick around. Up next is Signal HD versus Santa Elena to see who will challenge Philippine Air Force in the finals of the 2019 Reinforced Conference.